For months now, fans have been speculating that Drake's new solo album will be titled Iceman, and we finally got that confirmation. The rollout is officially in full force. Drake has released a new song called What Did I Miss, and he even did a full-on live stream previewing new music and more. So in today's video, we're going to be taking you through everything that we know as of this point and giving you our thoughts on everything that's been going down. And if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, because we will be keeping you guys updated throughout this entire rollout when it comes to more breaking news as well as album review and much more. So let's get into this, bro. Iceman Episode 1. It all started on Friday, July 4th, when Drake put out an IG post that read 9 p.m. And then we got word that he would also be dropping a new song.
Yes.
Fast forward a few hours and we find out that he's hosting a live stream on YouTube. And then, after a long wait, he actually starts the live stream and shows us this warehouse of an ice company called the Iceman, which is actually a real ice company in Toronto. And I have to tell you, this is a genius rollout. I think this is one of the most creative rollouts Drake has ever done for any album of his, even though it literally just started. The idea of him playing into this world of being this Iceman, of being this cold-hearted character, and actually, you know, playing the role of like being a worker, going into that break room. I thought that it was genius the way that he was able to connect with the fans in the streets of Toronto and how everything, you know, kind of pieced together so seamlessly. So what did you make out of the stream?
I think it was super cool because you got to get an idea of the type of branding that he's going for this new era, we should say, right? Because there's no official confirmation that the album's going to be quote-unquote Iceman. There's a couple of different... I mean, Jared came out on Twitter and said that
more
wait
than
for
that.
the album. I get it, I understand, but maybe it's a fictional character that he's going to be playing in the album. Maybe it's just for the branding, new merchandise. I think it will be the Iceman era, and it's probably going to be that album title, but we'll wait and see.
It's confirmed.
We'll wait
it's confirmed because when you go to the updated version of the stream that he re-uploaded, the end card says Iceman coming soon.
I get it. I understand what that means.
It's official. We don't have to dance around it anymore.
But that's what I'm trying to say, though, is that he always usually does that, where he gives you like a working title, and then after that you get something completely left field when the album ends up coming.
For this case.
Do I think it's going to be Iceman? Yes. I'll just wait till he officially announces it on the IG. I'm going to play it safe for now. But what's cool, too, is that even if you visit the website that was actually linked to the YouTube video, I was doing a bit of homework over the weekend, it's fire because, like you were saying, this is a real-life company in Toronto. And I was trying to find some Easter eggs. I tried calling the actual number because I'm not sure if you noticed this. During the actual video, there was the number on the back of the truck, the ice truck that he was driving around Toronto.
There was one number cut off.
One number cut off.
Yeah.
But then once the website was officially listed, the full number was revealed, and that last number was done, and then you could end up calling it, and it actually forwards you towards a real ice company out in Toronto. I tried to do all the extensions.
I'm sure they're happy.
Yeah, I'm sure they're absolutely happy. So I'm not sure if there was any Easter eggs. I tried my best to find something, but it seemed like it was a legitimate store and that there was no new information on that said website about any sort of music. But we'll see, because we've seen artists in the past use websites or use like these cryptic different pages to be able to give updates. I'm thinking about Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, where he had like the different files on his website, and he would give you kind of blog updates on when the album will be coming out. The double album was released towards then. So I'm asking, is Drake going to take that same route, let's say, with this website?
I don't think he'll do it with the website. I think that like he's making it pretty clear that like he's going to do it through his YouTube and through these live streams, because we also did see that this was called Iceman Episode 1, meaning that there are more of these streams to come, and that's probably where we'll be getting more previews of new music, more updates on the album. So that's really all going to be exciting. But going into the live stream itself, you get Drake going into the break room, and he turns on the TV, and we start to see a bunch of old footage of Drake on this channel called like iHistory, which is probably Iceman history. And at first we see like 2006 footage of him opening up for Ice Cube and him walking the streets of Toronto, and you have like the cameraman saying like Drake's about to carry the next 15 summers, and that guy made a hell of a fucking prediction, because that ended up turning out to be true. But that was cool because he then returns to those same streets, but does it in a bigger way, where he has all of the acclaim and all of the respect of the people. But what's interesting is that randomly it cuts from old footage to this exclusive announcement when text pops up on screen, and then the What Did I Miss music video starts. So let's talk about What Did I Miss? New single, probably the lead single, it looks like, for this album.
Double beat switch as well. Lots of conversation and chatter around this single. First of all, starting off with the lyrics, seems like Drake is in his bag, and he's revisiting topics that maybe he did in 2024 with previous singles that he released through 100 gigs, where he's talking about people that, snaked him throughout the beef and people that were trying to play both sides and play in the middle. It was very interesting to see him kind of revisit that topic for this lead single. Kind of gives you the expectation that that's what the focus of this new era and album is going to be. I don't know how I feel about it, but hey, it's his lyrics, and it was actually a really solid song, even from the production standpoint. I love the way that the second beat comes in, especially with that vocal sample. Lots of conversation around that. We were just having this conversation before this episode started where we're like, did he sample The Weeknd? There was nothing on who sampled at this point in time, but the sort of, I would say, guessing around the community is that it's either Majid Jordan and they played with the vocals, or it's actually a Weeknd sample flip. But in my humble opinion, I don't think The Weeknd would ever clear that sample for Drake to use. So
yeah, it's very unlikely that was the case. But yeah, this song, it's definitely good. I think that it's cool to know that Drake is teasing more of like a rap-focused album this time around after getting some Sexy Songs for You. The production was the best part of the song easily. What OZ and London Sir were able to do, that first half of the beat with those anthemic trumpets was fire. Reminded me of We Made It Freestyle, the 2013 Drake song with Soulja Boy. And then you get more of like a low-key trap beat on the second half with some psychedelic vocals like we were just talking about. I will say this. I think that there's definitely some symbolism in that video as well, where you have like all of these guns laid out on the floor, and there's two bigger guns that are standing up pointing at each other, while all the other guns are kind of laid flat on the floor pointing in the direction of those two guns. Different interpretations of what that could be.
Also, Drake kind of maybe flexing that, like, hey, if you really want to do this, like, I got it.
Yeah, or maybe like after all of like you guys coming at me, the 20v1, like I'm one of the only guys still standing, and like the real battle was between me and Kendrick. I don't know exactly what he meant by that. Vocally, I thought Drake sounded pretty good. I mean, he's still kind of lacing his vocals with autotune within this track. That's kind of been his style with his vocals for a while, and I don't think he needs it for a rapping track like this. I hope that we get more raw vocals on the album, to be honest with you. But listen, it was a good song. Obviously, there was references made to potentially LeBron James, DeMar DeRozan,
Future,
Rick Ross with the incident in Vancouver where he got punched. There's a lot of references made, and listen, if he wants to, we kind of predicted that there would be subs thrown across his next album. I'm kind of in the position where it's like,
let's see how he does.
If you want to open it back up, open it back up. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to dance around. Like, we're too far gone for subliminals at this point. Like, if you want to go back into the cage, per se, then just do it. That's kind of how I feel about it.
I see it as also Drake is probably just speaking about all the emotions that he probably went through after the battle and where he's currently at. Huge shift in probably his career and his life, especially after everything that's happened with that feud. So to be able to get that type of introspection from Drake is appreciated. And I think he did it in a tasteful and competitive way as well. But like you said, let's see where it goes, right? Does he really push another button and, he drops another diss track? We'll see what happens. That's not confirmed. It's all speculation. But then what's interesting is that once Drake gets into the car, or should I say the ice truck, he starts to drive around Toronto and he previews different tracks. He played 3 different songs. One of them was Tu Maza with Smiley, which is actually out at this point, released in the month of June of 2025. You guys can go bump it now. And then after that, there was Supermax Deals as well that was previewed, correct?
There was Supermax Deals, and there was a few other tracks that you really couldn't hear very clearly. So it's kind of a mystery as to what those tracks are going to be. They're also like played with this like lo-fi quality, so you couldn't make out much out of those. But yeah, Supermax Deals, this was more of like lyrical, introspective Drake over a slower moving beat.
Sounds like something that Conductor would have produced, that sort of vibe, right?
Yeah, it sounds like the Fighting Irish freestyle or one
Scary
of those.
Scary Hours EP3 type of aesthetic.
That type of Drake. And it was cool. I mean, he's not doing the most rhythmically. He's kind of just opening up, right? He's sharing his feelings. He's being vulnerable about how the whole situation of 2024 affected him. Again, the friends that he lost, how he feels like he got snaked. And speaking of getting snaked, that was another cool thing that some people missed out of the What Did I Miss song, is that the way that he overemphasizes the S on What Did I Miss, he's hissing like a snake to symbolize all the snakes that were around him. So that was a cool little clever thing that he added to that track. But yeah, I thought Supermax Deals was
Standard
cool.
Drake.
Standard Drake.
Appreciated. I
Yeah.
like when he gets in his rap bag. But let's talk about this album, man, because it was an interesting Friday night. I was actually in Toronto when the night dropped. It's kind of bad luck. Every time I'm out of the studio, there's something fucking crazy that happens. But when I was there, it was just. It felt nice, you know. It felt nice to be able to see him kind of champion himself again in Toronto. Felt nice to see the city perform. Not city, the city kind of put on for him, and everyone was following the truck. Someone tried him and called him a bitch, and he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And you know, the kid quickly retracted his statement. That was another part, you know, funny part of the stream itself. But what do you make out of this new Iceman era? Because when they re-uploaded the stream on YouTube, when you go to the end card of that video, it says Iceman coming soon. So, with that being said, you think that that's officially the album title?
Oh,
There's word around the
100%.
OVO community that that's not the album title. That's why I'm a bit like in the middle, right? Like you have people that have called shit before for Drake saying, no, there's going to be a different working title for it. And then you have him coming out and really putting an emphasis on this new Iceman era. So what do you make out of it?
There's no way. With all the branding from the trucks to even like the zip up hoodie, it's as if like he literally already made merch for it, which by the way goes hard as fuck. Iceman coming soon. There's no way fans want this to be the title of the album. They'll be surprised if it isn't. I feel like it's almost 100% locked that it will be the title of the album. And then what's interesting about the whole coming soon thing, we know what kind of pain those words bring to the music community.
I think our platform has contributed to like those coming soon words heavily, though.
We have, but what's more interesting to me in that Iceman coming soon is OVO Ben, the comedian that was on tour with Drake, who's a very close friend of Drake's, was on a live stream himself and said that Drake told him he's got some shit that's gonna fuck up the whole summer. And then Drake ended up even liking that post on top of that. So this really makes me believe that this album is either weeks away or is likely going to come before the summer ends. It really feels like we're in that gear, we're in that motion, especially with this new single coming out. I feel like we're in full effect. The album is really on its way, and that's pretty exciting. Also, what's interesting is that Drake is going to be busy over the course of the next couple of weeks. He's going to be headlining the Wireless Festival in the UK from July 11th to the 13th.
That's going to be crazy.
So there's another chance of an Iceman episode happening in the UK, which would be fucking fire. He might also make an announcement while he's on stage. And after this festival, he's going to be going on tour in Europe all of July and August. So it's going to be interesting to see how active he manages to be while juggling all these different things. Do you think that affects the album release in any way? Do you believe in Iceman Summer or no?
Well, we were having a conversation with different people about how Drake recorded his last album, right? And how For All the Dogs, which is the album I'm referencing back in 2023, a lot of it was recorded on the road. And you could hear it in the vocals. Sometimes your vocals get strained. And as an artist, like when you're performing at those live shows, your vocals do get fucked. Like these are things that do happen. And like once I feel like Drake released that album, you hear it, and For All the Dogs didn't have his best ever vocals. It's arguably the weakest vocals that he's ever put onto any of his studio albums. So for me, I understand the Wireless Fest. That's going to be a huge fucking moment. Him going back to the UK and performing at that festival like he did, I believe it was back in 2017. And then, you know, him doing his tour now in Europe. This is fire. But if it takes away from the album experience and he's not necessarily creating in the best environment that he could be for his vocals, or let's say even for time management, are you going to get a similar situation like you did with For All the Dogs, where it felt a bit incomplete? The vocals weren't great on that project itself. It felt like there was missing curation. It just didn't feel like it was a Focus Drake album. So do you have that same concern going into Iceman, or based off of what you heard on Friday night, are you locked in for this new era?
Drake seems focused. It looks like all of this has been really carefully put together when it comes to the stream, when it comes to the single release. Like, I think that he probably has all his ducks in order. I don't think it's going to be a case of him making things up as he goes and starting this rollout to just not even have the album done. I mean, sure, listen, Drake is notoriously known to be that guy to punch in verses at the last minute. So yeah, maybe there's a couple of songs that aren't made yet, but no, he's definitely has the majority of the album probably cooked at this point. But yeah, let's move into just our thoughts on what direction this album is going to take, right? Because there's a lot of different theories about where he can go with this. There's a lot of different ideologies, I guess you could say. One of the big things is like, is the focus of this album going to be similar to Scorpion, where he's really being reactionary to the beef and to the loss that he experienced in a battle, right? In 2018, it was with Pusha T, and we saw that change the entirety of Scorpion and have a lot of songs, especially on the rap side, be really geared towards that topic. And with Iceman, it kind of feels like we're in the same boat, where when you look at 100 Gigs and songs like No Face and Circadian Rhythm, and even looking at some of the songs off of some Sexy Songs for You, this is where his mind's at, right?
This
even
is where his mind's
with
at.
What Did I Miss, of course. So do you think that this is going to be the main focus?
It's absolutely going to be it. I think that he feels like maybe he wants to not regain the throne, but he's playing into the bad guy and the villain era, right? And he wants to be that Iceman. He wants to be the guy that comes in, takes over summer 2025. And to be honest with you, hip hop's really dead right now for the mainstream. So there's a wide open lane for him to come in here and just absolutely take over. A lot of people are trying to roll out their albums and their singles, and they're not performing well. So for him to come in and maybe have another number one hit and have a number one album in 2025, that would be a huge statement piece from him, being like, I'm still here, I'm cold as ice, I moved on from this situation, but I'm not forgetting you guys, and I'm not forgetting who is playing both sides within that battle. And that's fair to his side and his judgment and the way that he wants to put it into his lyrics. I'm also happy that he released some Sexy Songs for You, because you got a full-blown album full of R&B cuts and a lot of stuff that was geared for not only younger audiences, but also for the audiences that appreciate R&B, singy poppy sort of Drake, that makes these chart accessible records that are going to be super replayable for TikTok. I want to see if that's going to be the same vibe with this, because you just released a full studio album like that in the month of February. So if that's what the next album is going to be, where you're playing middle ground again, where it's this whole Iceman demeanor and it's this huge character, but half the album is like Die Tryings, you did that in the month of February. So that's what my biggest concern is like, this is really being advertised as, I'm coming and I'm gonna be a villain this year and I'm gonna fucking take over again, and you guys could do nothing about it. But if then you go into the studio album experience and half of the album is like full of TSUs
Soft.
and
Feels soft, yeah.
It's like, what's really the direction for this new era if it's just going to be another For All the Dogs or another CLB, for example?
I mean, yeah, I would definitely love this to be a rap album that's really leaning more into those aggressive Drake tracks that we've grown to love over the years.
Give me Summer 16s,
Summer
bro.
16s.
Yeah, just do it, bro. Just
some
fucking
0 to 100s, like some anthemic bangers.
Some trophies,
I think
bro,
I think that is the shit that we want. That being said, we've seen what the pattern has been with all of these Drake albums from the last decade, where when he drops a solo studio album, it's packaged as an all-you-can-eat buffet, where you're getting your R&B section, you're getting your rap section, you're going to get a couple of Afrobeat songs, you're probably going to get him trying to recreate Nokia to some extent. You're going to get all of that wrapped into one.
He's going to remix like an old like 80s or 90s pop song, and he's going to use that as an attempt.
That's,
but that's the shit
that's
that
likely what it's going to be, but maybe we're wrong. Maybe he does actually focus on more of a rap-leaning album. That being said, when it comes to subject matter and him going into reliving sort of the experiences of what it felt like and how he's still reeling from everything that happened, I'm kind of torn in the sense of like, it will lead to like some vulnerable, introspective Drake like we saw with the Fighting Irish freestyle. And if that's really what's on his mind and what he wants to get off his shoulders, then that is what he should do, right? Like he should create what's true to him. Yes. That being said, I'm scared that he falls into like writer's limbo, where already on Fighting Irish freestyle, looking at What Did I Miss, looking at some of these songs, he's already sort of repeating himself and the same subject matter, where it's like, these guys snaked me, I'm really hurt by it, I can't believe it. I don't want to fall into a case where it's like the same sort of topics are touched in similar ways throughout an entire track
and then
list.
It makes the album feel repetitive, right?
Yeah, I really don't want to go into that bag,
You always said that going into Scorpion, you thought it could have been a lot better if it was focused differently on the writing side of things, right? Yeah. That is something that we spoke about in previous episodes. But for me, I also think that you're getting some of Drake's strongest ever writing cuts off of that album. For example, a Sandra's Rose or an 8 out of 10, an Emotionalist, for example. Is there more? So if he is going to attack this era, I think that he should maybe even take the same route that he did with Scorpion, where you have massive hits, there's accessibility to the album, but then you're getting those 8 out of 10s, you're getting those Sandra Roses, you're getting those types of records, but at the same time, I don't want a 30-song album as well.
No
like
way.
like you can't do that again where you're trying to play both sides. You released the album in the month of February. Most of those songs stream super well, and it's still doing well as far as performance goes.
Yeah.
It's living on for him. So then what becomes the point of like giving people even more of that on this album that you're packaging for another area of your fan base? I think what he did in 2022 was also a perfect move where, example, Honestly Nevermind comes out a lot looser of an album. It's more, focused for his casual fans that like to play his shit on vacation, that like to play his shit at parties. And then you get that hardcore rap album with Her Laws. I think that's a perfect formula for Drake. And whenever he has these types of release schedules within a year, even going back to 2015, you get some of his best ever material, bro. And you get really strong shit. And 2022 is arguably his strongest year of this decade. So if that is the case this year, and he's really going into this direction where it's rap heavy, it's competitive, he wants to reclaim the throne, do it. It's open, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. Fucking hip-hop's dead right now. We need it.
It is.
We absolutely need it.
It is. And again, it feels like this album is meant to be fuck everyone, right? Fuck the industry, fuck the label, fuck the haters. If that's going to be the energy to go into this, we need a confident Drake. We don't need like contradictory feelings where it's like, I'm unbothered, but I'm bothered. You know what I'm trying to say? So hopefully it's a focused album. Hopefully Drake understands the assignment. And when it comes down to it, I mean, this is a big album, right? I feel like people are going to be going into this album just to see how Drake responds to everything that's happened, all of the hate, all of like people counting him out in the sense of like trying to write his ending early, which there's no fucking way, bro. This album is going #1. You're probably going to get songs that go platinum off the first week of release. The whole idea of like Drake not being able to continue his success, I think it's impossible at this point in time.
No, it is.
It's really impossible.
It's way too solidified. And
so he has an opportunity again to reign the charts, to be the leader for hip hop in 2025 when it comes to success and quality. He just needs to nail down the quality part of it.
That's it.
That's it.
When you go into the studio album experience, it needs to be focused. You need to feel like he wants to be there as well. There was certain records on For All the Dogs and CLB where I just felt like either it was a remake of an old song or we had to put this on the album for the sake of streaming. And I just don't like that from an artist because then it really doesn't speak to their true artistry. And we know what Drake could do for a full-blown studio album. I also think going back to the battle in 2024, the narrative around Drake was that he was cooked, he's finished, he can never release another album again. And even when we did those battle videos and we were like, no, listen, Kendrick Lamar released a better material within that battle. We preferred those songs. We preferred the writing on those songs. I don't think the sentiment, at least for us after it, was, dude, this guy's completely fucked for the rest of his career. Like, that makes no sense. This guy could still come out. He could still release an album of the year contender. I still think he has it in him. I have a prediction. I think this is going to be his best studio album, solo studio album in the 2020s decade, if it's done properly.
You think better than like Dark Lane demo tapes?
I don't see that as a solo studio album.
Okay, do you think it'll be better than that though?
I think there's a possibility.
Like best project of the 2020s. That's what I'm asking you.
I think it could be a great album, bro. I think it could be up there. If he really plays his cards right and this album is full of fucking slaps and it's competitive, what's stopping him?
The bar is not high though. Let's be honest. Looking
Well, no,
at
hey, listen.
CLB, looking at Honestly Nevermind, For All the Dogs.
Yes, but get
some
those out
sexy
of there.
songs for you.
Yes, but those
get
are the
those
bottom
out
of
of
the
there.
bar-
I just named the majority of his output
but
in
I'm
the
saying
2020s.
we got to look at Her Loss and you got to look at Dark Lane demo tapes and Scary Hours EP3.
That's why I asked you Dark Lane, because that's where the bar for quality is of this decade.
But I think
Her
that's
Loss
a great
as well.
album. Yes, I gave Her Loss a great rating.
But
at the
that's
same
also
time.
a collab album. Like, it's really down to Dark Lane.
Was it
Could
a collab?
he top Dark
Bro,
Lane?
I think 21 Savage had like 25% of the runtime on that album. That was his album. That felt like it was his album. Regardless, though, yes, I think it could surpass those projects.
I
think he can.
I really hope so. I think that this is the time to remind people that he is capable of putting out a classic album, or at the very least, a great album. But I will say this, the whole idea of Iceman is of being like the solo guy who's cool under pressure, that can take on anyone on his own. Like, that's kind of been one of the themes for Drake. Fuck all the features, bro. Hey, Drake, keep Lil Yachty away, keep Sexy Red away, keep Yeet away.
I just don't think
we don't need it.
Yeah, but I just don't think
we don't need
I don't
it.
think they're the right artist to fit this type of tempo of album. To be honest, you did a whole collaboration album. back in the month of February. I want to hear from you.
And it's also a case
Yeah.
of like a lot of his biggest collaborators, the Futures, the Travis Scotts, the Jay-Z's. Those are no longer possibilities just based on them seemingly
public
being on
knowledge.
bad terms, right? So, I mean, listen, you might get some Thug and some 21 Savage, but get it out. I don't want it. Just give me a Drake solo album, no features. I think that would make a statement in itself. But listen, I think we've done enough speculating for now.
Yeah.
We'll see what ends up
Hold
happening,
on, wait,
guys.
but we usually do this, bro. Prediction, release date.
Release date prediction. I'm gonna say late August 2025.
I think he's coming in October.
You think he's gonna do a
I think
fall
when
album?
I
Okay.
think when it's gonna start getting chilly outside, and it's his sort of zone, like he did. That was a
For All the Dogs is
was that-
October, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's gonna do October again. It makes sense, man. He has time to roll this
But
album.
he wants
out.
to run the summer. He wants to
Yeah,
run the
but
summer.
But he could do that with the streams, though. And it's the biggest topic is a conversation. And what's cool too, I realize this. Also considering what type of material he released, people are hyped, bro. There's a lot of
hype.
dude. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of opinions. And why? Because he's rapping. That is what he does best. I love the Die Tryings. I fuck with those records. But dude, we need the rap records. We need it. Solo 13, 14 song album. You released one. Nokia did well this year. This, What Did I Miss is probably going to be super successful for him as well this summer. But we need that focused studio album from Drake. Lou and I have been asking for it since we covered CLB, since we started covering CLB. But with that being said, guys, let us know in the comment section, when do you think Iceman is coming out? Do you think that's going to be the working title for this album? And how do you feel about this new single? Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.